So in response to your question over what is my favourite place in Oxford, I actually don't have a favourite place in Oxford. I have numerous different favourite places in Oxford, so I thought I'd take you to just one of them, but I'm going to hurry up because it's raining. Now the favourite place I'm going to share with you is one that is actually within Magdalen. It's within Magdalen's grounds, it's part of Addison's Walk, and you go through to the Fellows Garden, and then you come to this little oasis that not many people really know about, which is partly why I like it. Now, under the 5 o'clock sun and with rain clouds above us, it actually doesn't look that inspirational. However, if you do admire, it's basically an area of tranquility. It's just a space, and having space where you can just sit and reflect about things while listening to the sounds of nature, even if they are the pitter-patter of rain, they're just wonderful, especially in the summer. Yeah, I think this place isn't as great when it's raining. Maybe I should go inside. Central heating is such a wonderful thing. So though the weather was not favourable, I have shared with you one of my favourite places in Oxford, and perhaps I will share with you another when the weather is more favourable and going outside isn't so terrible. And now we come on to what I've been up to this week, so we'll start with the work. So again, I had to do 2 essays this week, one on international relations and one on ethics. In international relations, the topic was regional organisations, such as the European Union or the Arab League, and whether these organisations promote integration or not, with integration being defined as either economic integration, political integration, or integration with regards to security. And then there are these theories within international relations that attempt to explain why integration happens in certain regional organisations, and then there's the question of whether regional organisations actually, their aim is to promote integration anyway, because it's not actually always the case that it is. So then you have intergovernmentalism and neo-functionalism trying to explain things through either the state actors' self-interest or because they're very broad theories that don't really explain very much. Anyway, I'll stop ranting about that. If you are interested in it, feel free to post comments down there and I'll elaborate on certain parts and maybe we can get a discussion going, but now I'm going to go on to ethics. Now this week in ethics we were looking at the universability of moral beliefs. So for instance, the moral belief that everyone should keep promises. Now the issue with this is, should moral beliefs be universal? Should everyone abide by the same moral belief? Should there be a set that everyone should think, yes, I will stick to that? Or are moral beliefs all relative to the society that you're in? Some people would argue yes, so is there kind of a theme throughout all those moral beliefs that we're converging to? I'll let you guys think about that, because, well, there are no answers in philosophy. They're just more convincing theories than others. So that's been taking up most of my time this week. However, I did manage to fit in a couple of other things, such as seeing A Theory of Justice, the musical. If you don't know what A Theory of Justice is, it is a piece of political philosophy that was written in 1971 by the one and only John Rawls. This was a tongue-in-cheek musical all about his life and how he came up with this theory, and it was utterly fantastic. In fact, I like this musical so much, I highly, highly recommend it. If you have any grasp of political philosophy whatsoever, or actually even if you don't, this musical will have you in stitches for the whole duration of the performance. In fact, the humour was so good that it kept me awake. I'd only had 3 hours sleep before seeing this musical, and the laughter, it was so much better than caffeine. Now, quick note on John Rawls, the reason his theory was so good and thus merited that a musical be made after him was because of something called the veil of ignorance. Now, this is an interesting thought experiment. So imagine being behind a veil and not knowing anything about yourself. You don't know whether you're male, female, you don't know whether you're black, white, you don't know whether you like red socks or blue socks, you know nothing about yourself. You're just a being. Now, the reason this veil is so interesting is because imagine if you're deciding rules for a society and how society should function. What rules would you pick? Obviously, if you know nothing about yourself, you'd probably want equality, because you wouldn't want to put all of the wealth in the hands of, say, a group of 10 people, but then realise you're actually in the group of the 100 people who don't get any of the wealth. John Rawls used this thought experiment as the basis for coming up with his principles of justice. I won't go on any further, but that's a quick outline, and I'll put more details if you guys do want to investigate that further, which will probably be a Wikipedia link down in the description. Now, that's not down to laziness, it's just down to how you want to juggle your time. If you do want to go to lectures, you can. If you'd rather read a book on the topic later on when you're actually writing the essay, you can. It's pretty much just the ball's in your court and you can decide what you want to do. So yes, I thought I'd answer some of your questions that you guys have been leaving down in the comments. Thank you very much for those, and now it's time to address some of them. So we had Caviar Zealous ask if you're allowed to have a part-time job while also doing your degree at Oxford. The short answer to that is no. Essentially, they forbid you from having a part-time job while you're doing your degree at Oxford, because you wouldn't be able to juggle the workload of Oxford with the workload of having a part-time job, and they don't want you to ever think money is of concern, which is why there's so many student support fund things going on in bursary schemes, so you don't actually have to worry about the financial aspect of university. This always struck me as slightly weird, because it is possible to take on so many other voluntary things that take up so much more time than a part-time job actually would. Though I guess it is good that they don't want you to feel financially burdened at any point, and that there are funds available if you really do need them to help you get by. Another question by Caviar Zealous. Yes, I do actually know a psychology student, and I will see if they would like to tweet for you, so you guys can have a little chit chat. And now a request from Alex Johnson and Multiplexing Gamer. I will see if I can find you an economics student. And yes, it is true that you cannot do straight economics here at Oxford. You can either do PPE, ENM, History and Economics, or EEM. There's probably another one that I've forgotten, but yeah, you can't do economics on its own. Also on Alex Johnson's request, I didn't get an email. I don't have any emails in my inbox from you, so could you send it again, please? Because it must have just slipped through this net somehow. So that's my favourite place, that's an update, and there are some questions answered. Now, it's time for a question for you, Simon. Your question is, Simon, if you had not gotten a place at Oxford, what would you have done with your life? Would you have gone to university somewhere else, or would you have done something completely different? I don't know if you can hear it, but the bells are striking for 6 o'clock, which means hall is open, so I'm going to get dinner. So on that note, goodbye, see you on Sunday, Simon. Adios!